Hi, it's Natalie, and today I'm going to show you how to properly deal with the two most common sales objections that you'll often hear. I hear from a lot of people that they either get told that A, hey, I have to think about it, and then the person ghosts you, or B, I just don't know if I have the money for it, and then they also kind of ghost you after they're going to check their finances. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to actually properly deal with these objections so that you can make more sales. Before we get into this video, I did want to let you know that I actually have a full complete training on how to get consistent clients from Instagram. So that's something you want to know, and you want to know how to properly use the platform to actually attract more clients and make consistent sales, then go ahead to the description below, click on that link and watch that full training video that I've recorded for you. All right, so let's get into this video. And I wanted to start off by saying that technically, here's the thing, is that you'll get far less objections if you actually have a really, really solid sales process. And what I like to think about with sales is that we're essentially just trying to listen and then trying to see if we can actually help them and then trying to show them how we can help them with what they told us that they need help with. That sounds very simplistic, but that is what you're doing, all right? And then the next thing is you're just like trying to connect with a person. And here's the thing is whenever I ask people what's something you're good at, most people tell me that they're good at connecting with people. So this should be easy and great for you, right? But what we have to think about is if a lot of that is done properly, you'll find that you don't really have a whole lot of hesitation or objection towards the end. But also realize that people asking questions does not mean that people don't have interest or don't want what you have to offer or are questioning your ability to help them. Instead, it's part of their process of determining if this is a good fit for them. It's their process, and you should help them along this process to be able to make a good decision for themselves. And that's essentially all you're trying to do while you're on a call. Okay? But let's now get into the first objection that I hear that most people hear. The top objection that I hear from people that they hear the most is the I need to think about it that turns into the I ghosted you and now I won't reply to anything you sent me, right? So what does this tell us? Most of the time when people tell you that they need to think about it, it's really not that they need to think about it, it's a no. You know, my mother was in sales. She's actually the VP of sales at this Fortune 500 company, and she's been in sales for a lot of her life. And she always had this phrase that I absolutely love that says, buyers are liars. And buyers are big old liars. All right, I'll tell you this. And what they don't want the comfortableness of having to tell you no. Okay, which brings them to say, oh, I need to think about it when it's actually a no. And here's the thing is that we can't, sometimes there might be something that they assume is a certain way when it's actually not, which puts it as a no in their head, when if they would have known that, they might have been a yes. And I've seen this with a couple of people where they were more like, I need to think about it, and then they became a client. And how did I do that? It's by questioning their thinking. Understanding where they're coming from instead of immediately being like, why do you need to think about it? Or, oh, okay, well, that's fine, and you can go think about it then. Both of those responses are not what you want to do, all right? So the first way to deal with this is to essentially relieve some of the pressure that they might be feeling and to tell them this. To essentially be like, oh, I completely understand. I just wanted to let you know, though, that if this is something you don't want to do, that is perfectly fine. And we can still stay friends, right? And we can still talk to each other and say it just kind of like in a joking, laughing manner. But if you want to, and then you talk about what they wanted to get to with, what they told you they wanted, right? Then we can go ahead and get started and start working on this. Here's what this does, is it creates an opening for the person. It creates an out for them. They can now say, yeah, I just don't think this is a good fit. Or they can then explain what's actually on their mind, okay? When you relieve the pressure, you'll find that more people are more willing to tell you what's on their mind. Another thing to do is to ask somebody, how could I make this a no-brainer for you, right? help them understand and get into their psyche of what they actually need. Even ask them, what do you feel like you need? Ask them questions, fill them out, and see at one point, see if they're hesitating still, or see if they're opening up more. Right? I do this a lot of times with people, and they'll tell me, oh, it's actually because I was nervous about this. Or they'll tell me, hey, it's my finances actually. And then you can more properly deal with the problem, right? And sometimes you'll find that some of these people either are actually a no, or some of them do turn into a yes, just by further exploring their thinking, right? Sometimes I find people, they're like, oh, I'm really nervous about it because will it work for me? When you then know, hey, they're nervous about will it work for me, then we can deal with, hey, let's talk about how this can work for you. And why are you worried about it not working for you? Asking questions like that helps them to open up. The next biggest objection that I hear from people that they hear a lot is, oh, it's too expensive, or I don't have the money. And then we think to ourselves, oh man, they can't afford it, forget it, right? Sometimes it's not that, or they say, oh, I need to look at my finances. Different money objections, right? Sometimes people don't have the money, and that's 100% true. But sometimes it's not true. It's basically it. Or there's a way that you could actually help them, right, without discounting your prices, that will actually then get them as a customer for you, and then they'll be able to work with you. All right. One of the questions that I like to ask first is, if I gave you a payment plan, would that help you, right? See if they're open to it first. If they then say, no, it's probably they're not interested, because who knows, you could have like an amazing payment plan that they could definitely afford. So we just want to hear, first of all, if they're even open to it. If they aren't open to it, then they probably either don't trust that they're going to get results from what you're offering, or they just don't see the value in what you're offering at all, is basically it. Okay? And so then you have to figure out how to deal with that, or you can just be like, it's over, right? Second thing I like to ask people is, I like to ask them, hey, is this something that you really want to do? Like, if we could make a way for this to be easily affordable for you, this is something that you would want to commit to. And if they're like, yes, definitely, then you understand that this is about money solely. And then we can start properly dealing with that objection. But if they hesitate, if they say something different, you know that they aren't really that interested in what you have to offer. Another thing I like to ask people whenever there's anything with money or an objection in that kind of category is to ask them if it's really just the price, right? Or is there anything else? And I say it's completely okay if there's something else that you're feeling a little bit iffy about. Doing that, you can get people to open up, and they'll start to say, oh, I'm actually nervous about this. And then if you can actually deal with what they're nervous with, they'll then sign up and want to work with you. And you'll be like, wow, I thought it was price, but it's not really price at all. Or you'll find out definitively that they are no. Anyways, everybody, I hope this video was super valuable for you. Be sure to like, comment below what you'd like me to talk about next. Maybe there's sales questions that you have. Put them in the comments below. All right, maybe I'll make a video about it. And subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I put out new videos just like this one every single Friday. So I'll see you next Friday.